Good morning, Store Nation. So today's episode is a little bit different to all the other ones, and there is a reason for this. I'm getting so many messages, so many emails, so many DMs, which I absolutely love. By the way, really, really appreciate it, and it's never ever taken for granted whatsoever. However, what I do want to say is that I do think that some people are putting me on a pedestal in terms of self-storage, and I can promise you, wherever your journey is right now, I was worse than you, 100%. What you imagine the worst operator possible, and hello, it's me. And so I'm going to share with you my biggest, most embarrassing mistake, and two reasons. One, I feel like that we don't talk about our mistakes as much as we should do. We kind of hide behind the mistakes, and really, what you want to do is be proud of your mistakes, because if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying hard enough. You're not putting yourself in situations and circumstances where you can grow, because you only make mistakes when you don't know something, and we grow and learn from our mistakes. So I do think that as a whole, we all need to talk about our mistakes more. We need to own them, and we need to realize when we make mistakes, it's okay, because it's part of the journey. You cannot learn to walk without falling over. You cannot be $1 billion business owner, $1 million business owner without making mistakes along the way. So we don't tend to talk about it enough. And number two is that I feel like that sometimes my content goes out there and like I know it all and I want to get across that. I bloody don't. I'm literally learning every single day. I'm obsessed with learning, educating myself, being better today than I was yesterday. I'm reading a podcast at the minute about from one of the OGs of marketing, and Dan Kennedy's magnetic marketing podcast. Absolutely bloody love it. Going back to the old days of marketing and seeing if there's any nuggets that we can learn from that. And so I'm constantly evolving, constantly learning, and I don't want to get it across there that anybody thinks that I have it all figured out or I know what I'm doing, because we don't. We're all improving all the time. We're just literally educating ourselves as we go. And so I want to get it across that, holy shit, I make so many mistakes. And this mistake, it is so embarrassing. It's terrible. Right, let me paint the picture. So back in the day, I only had one self-storage. We'd probably been open maybe 4 years. And so it was 7 years ago-ish this was. And I had a customer that, if I'm honest, let's call him, I was going to use his real name and I thought better not. So let's call him Kevin. I'm thinking of Kevin and Perry Go Large in a beefer, because my wife's just gone to a beefer today. So I was thinking of Kevin and Perry. Right, so let's call him Kevin. And me and this Kevin, he was an electrician. He was actually an electrician. And we got quite close because he used to come in. Really nice guy, salt of the earth, just an all-round nice chap. And then Kevin, he got into some money difficulties. And as it happened, by the way, it got a lot worse for this guy. I mean, he did a job, he was on Cowboy Builder, or he was going to be on Cowboy Builders, and he just left people in terrible workstations. And it kind of, if we look at it from his point of view, it wasn't, some of it wasn't his fault, but then his ethics, that where he went was poor and bad. And basically, long story short, is I was trying to find him because he owed us some money. And so I was trying to get in touch with him. And so I put, does anybody know on Twitter, I think it was, does anyone know where at Kevin is, kind of thing? And this one person was doing the same search because they left their house in Sheffield or Doncaster, somewhere around there, in an absolute state, ruined the Christmas and everything, got in contact with me. And as it happens, I know his family quite well. And so I got in touch with the family and said, look, this is how he's left his house. Anyway, I'm going off the subject, as I normally do. So I painted the picture there of his business went downhill. Somebody owed him a lot of money and they didn't pay him. So therefore, he didn't pay me. And therefore, he couldn't buy supplies to finish his other job off. But rather than coming clean and asking for help and stuff, he went from job to job to job, kind of ripping people off. And that wasn't good. He's naming the local area now around here is mud. He's ripped off all the suppliers like MKM, etc., because he had a credit there. He was a good kid. He was doing everything right. He was younger than me, and I love talking to him because he's ambitious. He wanted to do everything. And long story short, his unit had a lot of stuff in it. And so when he owed me some money, this had gone on now for a year, owing me money. And at first it was okay because he'd pay a little bit, won't pay a little bit, and he wouldn't answer my phone calls. I went around to his house. He wouldn't come downstairs and talk to me. So his wife had to talk to me. And obviously, it wasn't aggressive. There's no way I can be aggressive. But if somebody owes me money, I'm going to go around to your house. I am going to literally go knock on your door and ask for my money. Why wouldn't I? It's my money. So back in them days, every single time someone owes money, I used to go around because not to be confrontational, but just to ask, can I help? What's the problem? Can we set up a plan? Please don't ignore me. And so I used to go around all the time. He'd run upstairs, refuse to come downstairs. And it was one of those where I wasn't getting the money. And so in the end, I just said, listen, you're a good kid. I don't want to sell you stuff because I know then that means you can't operate as a business because your electrician stuff's in there and there's a lot of money in there. I just can't do it anymore. I can't keep chasing you for money. I'm going to write the £1,000 off, whatever, but keep your money, forget it. We'll just go our separate ways kind of thing because I don't want to keep your stuff. And so what did I do? I broke into his unit and I got all his stuff. But obviously, it's gone past 45 days. I'm allowed to sell it if I want. And I literally hired a removals firm to go around to his house. And I hoped he was going to be in because I did it at nighttime. So I knocked on his door, going to give him his stuff back as nice as pie. And by the way, it does get horrendously embarrassing for me very, very soon. I'm wincing right now. I'm absolutely wincing. And it's embarrassing for my family and everything. Right. So, I mean, it's funny in one degree, but it's horrible. And so I went around to his house, dumped all the stuff. And I'm thinking at the time, I thought he was an electrician. There's an awful lot of plumbing stuff here. Tons of it. Absolutely tons of it. Thinking, I don't know. He might have started plumbing or something now as a bit of a side hustle. I don't know. I know he needs some money. I'm going to have a swig of tea here. It's actually coffee. I'm also expecting tea and I've drank coffee. Anyway, I'm getting flustered. So I was dumping the stuff. Me and this removals guy was dumping all the stuff and he was saying, well, it don't look like a Sparky to me. I was like, no, not me. Anyway, didn't think anything of it. I rang the doorbell, nothing. So I texted him and I wrote him a note saying, look, no, I had feelings. Hope things improve for you. And this is before, by the way, he started ripping people off. No, I had feelings. Hope things improve for you. But I'm going to leave this here. And, hopefully you find your feet, whatever. If you ever do get on your feet, you owe me £1,000 or 1,300 quid, whatever it was. Good luck, bye-bye, kind of thing. Got no phone call from him, no nothing. And I'm thinking, well, okay, at least I've got the unit available. I can rent it out again because it was 100% occupied because then I didn't understand revenue management. And so we never give any price increases or anything. And so rented the unit out, no problem. All of a sudden, my dad phoned me up and says, Dean, I've overheard a plumber at our house complaining about Belvedere 24, saying that because at the time, this plumber who was at my dad's house didn't know my dad was anything to do with me, who was anything to do with Belvedere 24. He's saying that all his stuff's been robbed. I was like, what? His stuff being robbed? So I give him a ring. Hey, buddy, what's happened to your stuff? It's Dean. And he goes, yeah, hiya, mate. Really nice guy. Salt of the earth. Can't even remember his name, but salt of the earth. And he goes, yeah, I've opened my unit yesterday and all the stuff's gone. And I didn't want to cause a problem. Really nice guy. Just absolute nice guy. And just said to me, do you know where it is? I'm like, it's in your unit. Obviously. I'm gonna go down there now. And what's your unit number? And all of a sudden, as soon as he said that, I was like, oh no, I haven't. I've emptied the wrong man's unit. Worse than that, the plumber, the electrician Kevin, had come that night and piggybacked on somebody else's because he'd blocked, he couldn't get access. Piggybacked off his own, piggybacked into my unit and chopped off the overlock and took all his electrical stuff. But not only his electrical stuff, he's taken all the plumber's stuff as well because the plumber's stuff was outside his house. So he's like, fucking hell, I owed Dean £1,000. He's let me off of £1,000, but not only that, has he let me off of £1,000, he's given me a gift of all this plumbing material worth thousands of pounds. And I'm like, oh, no. So I race down to the unit, open it up, sure as hell, 2 units are completely empty. 2 20-foot containers of plumber stuff and electrician stuff are empty. So not only have I lost, the electrician's cleared his unit out, but not only that, I've give a paying customer, a plumber, all his stuff. I've given the plumber's stuff to the guy who didn't pay me and left it on his doorstep. And do you know what? I daren't go round to the electrician's house, the bad payer. I daren't go round. I was just thinking, oh my God, he's going to think you're such an idiot. Don't go round. And so I had to, the most nervous conversation of my life, I had to ring up the customer and thought, how am I going to get out of this? And I just thought, when in doubt, just be honest. Because I was thinking I can make up this story, that story, that story. I'm like, what story? There's no story to make up. You've just been an absolute idiot. So long story short, I emptied the wrong person's unit and give it back to a non-payer. And it happened to be the wrong unit. So yeah, I had to ring up the guy and apologize. And honestly, he's as nice as possible. And I said to him, listen, how much is it going to cost to you to buy all that stuff again? And he goes, these things happen. Don't worry, Dean. I don't know, probably five grand or, maybe more, but I don't want to take anything off you, should we call it free? And I was like, oh, no. It's like, no, I can't. I'll tell you what, show me every receipt and I'll pay everything for you. And obviously for your time as well, I'll give you an extra 500 quid to say sorry. He goes, Dean, that is awfully nice of you. Thank you so much. And he goes, can I just ask one thing of you? Can you not rent my unit because I still want it? I was like, what? You still want to rent it? You still want to rent a unit off me? Why? I'm just giving away all your stuff. And yeah, so he still rented the unit off me for some time to come. If he's still in there, I don't think he is, but he's a plumber. So obviously, when you get plumbers in, the lifetime value is very, very high. So yeah, I had to buy him all his stuff. So not only did I lose £1,000 from the electric guy, I also gave the electric guy £5,000 worth of presents from the plumber. And it just a double whammy. And I promise you, this isn't the only time that I've made mistakes. Well, actually, it's the only time I've done this mistake, but it isn't the only time I've got units mixed up. When Angela first came in, she goes, well, wait a second, I don't understand that. Whose is that unit there? I'm like, Angela, I actually don't know. I had somebody, I had no record of somebody in that unit, but somebody was in that unit. And we didn't have any idea who it was. There wasn't paying for it. And there was just somebody's stuff in it. And she goes, well, what happened, Edie? And I was like, Angela, I really don't know. I want to pretend I know to make a good first impression with you, but I don't know. I have no idea, because she was going to start running Beverly for me as well. And yeah, it was an interesting time. And so I promise you, whatever situation you are in, however bad of an operator you think you are, or however messed up you think you do, I can promise you, whatever you are doing right now, or whatever mistakes you have made or will make, I have made them. I have made them all. I have literally been the worst operator in the UK. If there's an award for the conference for the worst operator, I'd be nailed on. Absolutely nailed on back in the day. I hope I've improved a little bit now, but I just want to get across that I was shocking. So if I can make money out of self-storage and make it pay and make it worthwhile, I'm promising you as individuals, as groups, as companies, that you can as well. Don't get me wrong, self-storage is getting more competitive all the time, and we do need to up-level our skills all the time. But guess what? If you're listening to this podcast and you are up-leveling your skills, because I am trying to educate myself as much as possible. I was just talking, I've got some decorators in my house today, and I was talking to them, they said, you've got a really good life, you haven't you? You know, you're just going for a walk into... That's my work. That's my work. My work is to educate myself and learn and constantly do as much as I possibly can to educate myself. And so, yeah, I don't do a lot of operations, but I do a hell of a lot of learning and educating myself to make sure that if I can educate myself, then I can be a better operator and help my team become better as well. And it filters on down. So as long as I'm keeping up there with the new standards and new procedures and new sales processes, marketing hacks, then as long as I'm up there, then I can filter it down to my team and ultimately to you. So yeah, we're always learning. And you know what? I'm absolutely certain that I'll make another. Well, if I was operating now, if I was on the tools as such day to day, then I would make massive, massive mistakes. And anyway, that guy, that Kevin guy, he went on and he's ripped off so many people. But I almost think that in another life, he will be another life, given different circumstances, because one person let him down for like 15, 20 grand, I think it was. There was a number of them, actually. There was one for 10, and there was another couple for big ones as well. They let him down, and I think that changed him. I think that changed him, because then all of a sudden he had to start putting him first because he was getting pressure. He had a fiance, and their family was very wealthy, so he had pressure of being successful, and he was doing really, really well. And all of a sudden that happened, and he had to lay people off. And yeah, I like to think the good in people, and I don't think it had turned out the way he did. I haven't spoke to him or seen him for years, and hopefully he's changed his ways. But yeah, then he started ripping people off. And even his own granddad, because like I said, I'm close to the family, even his own granddad actually said to me that he's changed, his work's shoddy, he actually pinched money off me as well. It's almost like somebody who's hooked on drugs or something. Not he was hooked on drugs, but it was hooked on something because he needed the money, because it was one domino of somebody not paying and then somebody else not paying, and it knocked loads of other dominoes, and it changed him as a person. Because I like to think I'm a good judge of character, and I thought he was a stand-up bloke. I mean, probably him owning me for a year probably wasn't a good indication of being a stand-up character. But yeah, unfortunately, things happen, situations occur, and people change, and that's what happened there. But I can promise you that I'm as messed up in operations as any of you listening to this. But I what I said, I have improved. Okay, I don't want to put myself like I'm terrible now, because I've definitely improved. However, I couldn't get any worse. Let's be fair. So I have dedicated myself to being the best version of myself and trying to educate myself as I go. But yeah, I will make mistakes. I will continue to make mistakes, and hopefully none as big as that. That is embarrassing. But not only for me, I then had to tell my dad what I'd done to his plumber. And plumbers talk to plumbers, plumbers talk to in pubs and stuff. And all of a sudden, I'm the idiot who sold somebody's stuff. And I can't describe to you how nice he was. He was unbelievable. I've wrecked his business. He couldn't work until he got it all delivered again. Anyway, I'm going on and on and on. All right, I love you. I appreciate you. Don't make any mistakes like me. See you later. Bye.